Hello there. Thanks for stopping by Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode number 67. Robert Max here. Hope everyone's doing well. And we have Strat-O-Matic Baseball back on the table for continuation of the Oldtimer Kings King of the Hill tournament. This is game number 16, which has the 1950 Phillies traveling to Milwaukee to take on the 1957 Braves, who are the current Kings of the Hill. Before we get to the starting lineups, we'll take a quick look at the status of the Hill. As you can see, the 62 San Francisco Giants are lying in wait back in the clubhouse, waiting to see if they're going to travel to Philadelphia or Brewtown. All right, so let's get to the starting lineups. First, for the visiting Philadelphia Phillies. Leading off at first base is Eddie Waitkus. Batting second in center field, Richie Ashburn. Batting third, left fielder Dick Sisler. Batting fourth, right fielder Del Ennis. Batting fifth, Willie Jones. He's at third base. Batting sixth, Granny Hamner. He's at shortstop. Batting seventh, Andy Semenuk. He's the catcher. Batting eighth, second baseman Mike Goliot. And on the hill and batting ninth is pitcher Bob Miller. In 1950, he was 11-6 with a 3.57 ERA and 174 innings of work. He's a number 2 hitting pitcher, so we'll replace his card with the number 2 pitcher hitting card. For the home Milwaukee Braves, the 1957 Milwaukee Braves, leading off in center field, Bill Bruton. Batting second, shortstop, Johnny Logan. Batting third, Eddie Matthews at third base. Batting fourth, Hank Aaron in right field. Batting fifth, Wes Covington in left field. Batting sixth, Joe Adcock at first base. Batting seventh, Felix Mantilla. He is playing second base. Red Schoendienst is unavailable. He was injured in the last game, and he will be unavailable for the next 3. So Felix Mantilla gets the start at second. Batting eighth is catcher Del Crandall. And batting ninth and pitching is Bob Buell. He was 18-7 with a 2.74 ERA and 217 innings pitched in 1957. He is the number 1 hitting pitcher, and we'll replace his card with the number 1 pitcher hitting card. All right, so we're ready to go here in Milwaukee. Will the Braves stay atop, or will the Phillies send them a-tumbling down? Waitkus is ready, Buell's ready, and we are underway. And we have a 6-9. And that's a leadoff single for Eddie Waitkus. Right off the bat, the Phillies are in business with a man on base. So Waitkus is on first base, nobody out, and Richie Ashburn. And the Phillies are coming out firing. That is a ball hit down the corner in left field. Bounces around there till Wes Covington finally gets to it, and that is a sliding triple for Richie Ashburn, which is going to score Eddie Waitkus. And just like that, the Phillies are up 1-0, and Buell gets a fatigue point for the run scored. All right, so the Phillies have a man on third with nobody out, and Dick Sisler coming up. They lead 1-0. Braves are going to bring the infield in. And that's a ground ball to second base X. Second baseman is Mantilla. He is rated a 3, and we roll a 15. The infield is in. And that is out with no runners on base. If no runners are forced, runners hold. With one or more runners forced, batter is safe. Disregard previous result. Runner on first is out, going to second. Other runners advance 1 base. Okay, well, he's not forced. And the ground ball X tells us to follow the result on the fielding chart, which we are. So that is an out with no runners on base. If no runners are forced, runners hold. So with the infield in, that was a ground ball to second base. So Mantilla makes the play. 4-3 Tosses over to Adcock for the first out. And Ashburn holds at first base. Phillies still lead 1-0 with Ashburn on third and 1 out. Braves still have the infield in for Del Ennis. And that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Buell and the second out of the inning. So there's 2 outs with a man on third. Milwaukee puts the infield back. And that's a catcher's card X. Crandall is a 2. And we roll a 12. And Willie Jones pops it up near the home dugout. Crandall's under it, makes the catch for out number 3. But the Phillies do score 1 run. It could have been a lot worse. Buell gets out of the jam. And after 1/2 inning of plays, the Phillies won, and the Braves coming to bat. Buell gets a second fatigue point for the inning. He's at 2. As a starter, Buell gets 11 fatigue points, so he's not fatigued until he reaches 12. So Bob Miller's out in the mound for the Phillies. And he's going to face Bill Bruton, Logan, and Matthews here in the bottom of the first. And we have a 1-4. And that is a leadoff single for Bill Bruton. So he's on first. And his stealing is an A. Let's check. Semenuk's a 1, so we're probably not going to send him. I don't know. Let's take a look. If he's a 1, that's going to be 6. -6. So that would reduce him to a 1-9. No, we're not going to send him. But we are going to try a hit and run right off the bat here. I don't normally do this early in games, but we are right now. All right, we roll a 7. Batter misses pitch, pick card for steal result. Okay, so let's see. So Bruton takes off. Logan misses the pitch. And like I said, he's a 1-9 with Semenuk behind the plate. So he needs a 9 or less. And he rolls a 7, and he's safe at second with a stolen base. So Bruton's on second with nobody out. Give him a stolen base here. And the at-bat continues for Johnny Logan. And this is going to score a run. It is a single to left center. And that is going to allow Bruton to score. This game's tied with nobody out. And Miller's going to get a fatigue point for the run scored. So the Braves have a man on first with nobody out and Eddie Matthews. And that's a ground ball to second base. Mantilla tosses over to Logan, who then tosses back over to Adcock for the 4-6-3 double play. Logan's retired, and it's a 4-6-3. Or excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong team. It's actually Mike Goliot over to Granny Hamner, who then tosses back to Eddie Wakis for the double play. I apologize for that, but there are 2 away now. So 2 outs, nobody on for Hank Aaron. And that's a fly ball to right field. Del Ennis is under that for the third out. But the Braves do score and tie this game up. And after 1 inning of play, we are knotted at 1. Miller also gets his second fatigue point for the inning. Buell's back out on the hill, and he's going to face Hamner, Semenic, and Goliath, and the pitcher Miller if anyone gets on base. So we have a 5-5. And that's a fly ball to center field. Bruton's under that, makes the catch for the first out. It's one away here in the top of the second. Next up, Andy Semenic. And he pops that one up. Not Dick Sisler. Eddie Waitkus is under that. No, he's not under that. Joe Adcock is under that for the second out. Get your head on straight, Max. There's 2 outs, nobody on. And Mike Goliath for the Phillies. That's a catcher's card X. Crandall's a 2. I'm looking at the wrong chart. Crandall is a 2. And we roll a 19. And that says roll again or select another card. Now we got a 12. And Goliath pops this one up near the Phillies dugout. And Crandall's under that and makes the catch for the third out. The Phillies go 1, 2, 3 on 3 balls in the air. And after 1.5 innings of play, we're tied at 1. Buell gets his 3rd fatigue point. Bob Miller out for the Phillies. He's going to face Wes Covington, Joe Adcock, and Felix Mantilla here in the bottom of the second. And that's a ground ball back to Bob Miller. Fields it easily. Tosses underhand over to Eddie Waitkus for the first out. And there's one away. Joe Adcock. Milwaukee first baseman. And that's the ground ball to third base, X. Getting quite a few X checks early on here. Jones is a 2. And we roll a 1. And that is a single. It gets by Jones. So we got a 1-out single for Adcock. So he's on first with 1 away. His stealing is an E. So he's not going to challenge Semenic. So a man on first with 1 out, and Felix Mantilla, Brave second baseman. That's a fly ball to right field. Del Ennis, near the track, makes the catch for the second out. Adcock holds at first base, and there are 2 away. Braves catcher, Del Crandall. And that's a fly ball to left fielder, Dick Sisler. Routine makes the catch for the third out. And the Braves do get a base runner, but do not score. And after 2 innings of play, we are tied at 1. Miller gets his 3rd fatigue point. And Bob Buell comes back out here for the top of the 3rd. He's going to face his counterpart, Bob Miller. Battle of the Bobs today. All right, nobody on, nobody out. Top of the 3rd. And that is a fly ball that the wind is getting a hold of. It is over left fielder Covington's head, and it is a home run for Bob Miller. How about that? And the Phillies take a 2-1 lead on pitcher Bob Miller's home run. Buell gets his 4th fatigue point, and the Phillies now lead 2-1, and we're back to the top of the order with no one out here in the top of the 3rd. And that's a fly ball to left fielder Wes Covington. He's near the track. Under that, makes the catch for out number 1. So there's 1 away here in the top of the 3rd. And Richie Ashburn, Philly center fielder. First time up, Ashburn hit a triple, an RBI triple that drove in Eddie Waitkus back in the top of the 1st. But he's up here with 1 out. And he hits a fly ball to center fielder Bill Bruton. And he puts that one away for the 2nd out of the inning. There's nobody on for Dick Sisler. Sisler grounded out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. But this time he hits a 2-out single. And the Phillies have Sisler on first base with 2 away for right fielder Del Ennis. And that's another single. All right. So let's check Sisler's running. 2 outs, he gets a +2. And he's a 1-12. Makes him a 1-14. I don't want to make that out at third base, so we're going to hold him up at second. All right, so the Phillies have runners on first and second with 2 outs, and third baseman Willie Jones, who fouled out his first time up. But not this time. This time he hits a single that's going to score Sisler. And Ennis comes around to third. And he's getting waved home. He's a 1-14 with 2 outs. And he is safe. Phillies now lead 4-1. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Buell is up to 6 fatigue points. The Phillies now lead 4-1. This was all with 2 outs. Willie Jones delivers. So he's on first with 2 outs, and Granny Hamner. That's a ground ball to third base X. Third baseman Matthews is a 2. Rolls a 14. And Matthews makes a good play and fires over to second base to get Jones. And that's going to be a put out 5-4. That would be Matthews to Mantilla for the 3rd out. But the Phillies pick up 3 runs here in the top of the 3rd. And now, after 2.5 innings of play, the Phillies lead 4-1. Buell gets his 7th fatigue point. Home run hitter Bob Miller back out in the mound. Here in the bottom of the 3rd, he's going to face his counterpart, Bob Buell. That's a 2-4. And that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Miller. There's 1 away. Back to the top of the order for the Braves. Billy Bruton. And that is a 1-out single for Bruton, his 2nd hit. So he's on first with 1 out. And Johnny Logan. And we're going to try to hit and run again. That's a 7. Batter misses pitch. Pick card for steal results. Well, we already know that Bruton is safe on a 1-9. And a 7, he has his 2nd stolen base of the game. And the at-bat continues for Logan. So now Bruton's in scoring position with 1 out. Johnny Logan, he's swinging away. And that's a ground ball to the shortstop, X. It's an X check. And Granny Hamner is a 2. We roll a 4. And Hamner makes a nice play, but his only play is to first base. It's a ground out 6-3 for the second out, but Bruton moves over to third. So now he's on third with 2 outs for Eddie Matthews, who grounded into an inning-ending, or no, it wasn't an inning-ending double play, but it was a double play his first time up. See what he can do this time. Bruton's on third, 2 outs. He hits a high fly ball to right fielder Del Ennis. Or excuse me, this is only 2 outs. Or excuse me, there is 2 outs, but he hits this fly ball to Del Ennis for the third out of the inning. So the Braves threaten, but can't get Bruton home. And after 3 innings of play, it's the Phillies 4 and the Braves 1. Bob Miller gets his 4th fatigue point. And we go to the top of the 4th with Bob Buell coming back out and Andy Semenick at the plate. He'll be followed by Goliat and Miller. It's a ground ball to second base X. Mantilla's a 3. And we roll a 10. And that is an error by Mantilla. So Milwaukee gets their first error of the game. And Semenick is going to reach on an E4. So we got a man on first with nobody out. And Philly's second baseman, Mike Goliat. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 1 for Buell. First out of the inning. Brings up pitcher Bob Miller, who homered his last time up. This time he hits a fly ball to left field, and it's going to be an X check. Wes Covington is a 4. We roll a 3. And he makes the play. And the runner's going to hold. So, fly out to left field for the second out of the inning. There's a man on first with 2 outs. Back to the top of the order for the Phillies and Eddie Waitkus. Waitkus is 1 for 2, and he scored a run in the first inning on Ashburn's triple. 3-6. This time he hits a single with a 2-base advance. That's going to send Semenick to third. There's 2 outs, so let's check his speed. He's a 1-9. 2 outs, that makes him a 1-11. He's getting waved around. And he is thrown out at the plate. And that's going to end the inning for the Phillies. So they threaten, but do not score with the great play by Aaron in right field, throwing out Semenick at the plate. So after 3.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 4 and the Braves 1. Buell gets his 8th fatigue point. He's got 3 more before he becomes fatigued. Bob Miller's back out here in the bottom of the 4th. He's at 4 fatigue points. All right, so he's going to face Aaron, Covington, and Adcock. 5-12, and that's a ground ball to the shortstop, and it's an X check. And Hamner is a 2. Rolls a 12. And he makes a nice play, tosses over to first baseman Eddie Waitkus for the first out. 6-3. And there's 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th. Wes Covington, Braves left fielder. He's 0 for 1. But not any longer. And I dropped my die. Roll it again. And that is a 1-out Triple. He rolls a 1. So Covington slides into third base with a 1-out triple. So he's on third with 1 out. And the Phillies are going to bring the infield in for Joe Adcock. Man on third, 1 away. 2-7. And he draws the walk. So now there are runners on the corners. And Felix Mantilla. Mantilla flied out to right field his first time up. Infield is still in. And he hits a single that's going to drive a run in. Infield in. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Mantilla hits a single. Adcock moves up to second, and that scores Covington. And it's now 4-2 in favor of the Phillies. Miller gets his 5th fatigue point. Infield's back with runners on first and second. 1 out, and Del Crandall. And he hits a fly ball to left field. Dick Sisler's under that, makes the catch. Runners hold. And that's the 2nd out. Now to the pitcher spot. Buell's going to stay in the game. You know, these 20-man rosters, you got to be conservative with bringing players in because you get an injury or you get into some kind of trouble, and next thing you know, you don't have anybody left on the bench. So, if it was a little bit later in the game, I would definitely pull Buell, but he's going to bat. There's 2 outs, man on first and second. See if he can do something like Miller did his first time up. But unfortunately, he strikes out. And that is the 2nd strikeout for Bob Miller. And that ends the inning. But the Braves do get a run. And after 4 innings of play, the Phillies 4 and the Braves 2. Now, let me make sure I have this right with Miller. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's actually at 6 fatigue points. Let me double check Buell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I have him at 8. Okay. All right, so go to the top of the 5th. Buell's out there. Going to face Richie Ashburn, who is 1 for 2. He does have a triple and an RBI. This time he hits a ground ball to the shortstop. It's going to be an X check. Johnny Logan is a 3, and he rolls a 9. And Logan makes a nice play, fires over to Joe Adcock for the first out. Here in the top of the 5th. So nobody on, 1 out for Dick Sisler. Sisler is 1 for 2 with a run scored. And this time he strikes out. That is the 2nd strikeout for Buell. There's 2 away. Top of the 5th, 2 outs, nobody on. Del Ennis at the plate for the Phillies. And he pops this one up. Joe Adcock's under it at first base. In fair territory, makes the catch for the 3rd out. And the Phillies go 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 5th. And after 4.5, the Phillies lead 4-2. Buell gets his 9th fatigue point. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Bob Miller, who is at 6 fatigue points himself, comes back out. He's at the top of. He's going to face the top of the order. Bruton, Logan, Matthews. Here we go. And that's a leadoff single for Bruton. He's 3 for 3. So Bruton's on first. Do we try the hit and run a third time? No, we're going to let Logan swing away. So there's a man on first with nobody out, and Johnny Logan. And he lines out to the second baseman, Mike Goliot. Bruton gets back to first base just in time. There's one away. Good thing we didn't do the hit and run. It would have been a double play. All right. Man on first, nobody out. Eddie Matthews. Excuse me. Yeah, one out. This is a ground ball to the shortstop. Granny Hamner tosses over to Mike Goliot, who then fires over to Eddie Wakis for an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. And after 5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 4 and the Braves 2. Miller gets his 7th fatigue point. Buell comes back out here in the top of the 6th. He is at 9 fatigue points. And he's going to face Willie Jones, Granny Hamner, and Andy Semenick in the top of the 6th. We got 1-4, and this is trouble right off the bat. It's an 8, and that is a leadoff double for Willie Jones. So the Phillies have a man on second with nobody out. Granny Hamner, who is 0 for 2. Hits a fly ball to center fielder Bill Bruton near the track. Makes the catch for out number 1. And Willie Jones holds at second base. There's one out, man on second, Andy Semenick. It's a ground ball to second base C. Mantilla over to Adcock for the second out, and Jones holds. There are 2 away. It's Philly second baseman Mike Goliot. He is 0 for 2. But not this time. It is a high fly ball to center field over Billy Bruton's head. It is out of here, gone. A 2-run shot from Mike Goliot. And the Phillies extend their lead to 6-2. My. 2 out, 2-run home run. And the Braves are going to get some action in their bullpen. And it's going to be Juan Pizarro is going to start warming up for the Braves. There are 2 outs here. Buell is at 10 fatigue points. He doesn't become fatigued until 12. Let me make sure he should be at 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, he is fatigued. Buell is fatigued. So, Pizarro's not ready yet. Buell's going to have to pitch through this inning. So if there are any X checks, they're all going to come from the 4th column. All right, so Goliot hitting that home run, that 2-run shot. Pitcher Miller's coming to bat. Bob Miller. Miller is 1 for 2 with a solo shot home run his first time up. And this time, he hits a 2-out single. So Miller's on first with 2 outs. On top of the order for Eddie Wakis. Now let's see. Well, the Braves come up. It's going to be the 4th spot, Aaron. All right. Contemplating a double switch, but we'll see. All right. So Eddie Wakis. Buell staying out here for one more batter. Hopefully he can get out of this inning. Okay. Wakis with a man on first and 2 outs. And Buell gets Wakis to strike out for the 3rd out. That is strikeout number 2 for Buell. But the Phillies score 2 more runs. And now lead 6-2. Buell is now fatigued, and he will be coming out of the game. It's going to be Juan Pizarro when the Braves come back out to take the field. So Buell goes 6 innings, and it will be Juan Pizarro. But right now it's Bob Miller coming back out. Slugging pitcher Bob Miller. And he's going to face Aaron, Covington, and Adcock. Hank Aaron, who has been quiet so far in this whole project. I don't really recall him doing anything in any of the games the Braves have played. Let's see if that can change. Bottom of the 6th, Aaron leading off. And he draws a walk. So leadoff walk for Aaron. That brings up Wes Covington, man on first. No, it's not a threat to steal. Wes Covington. And he hits a single. Aaron has to hold at second. So the Braves have first and second with nobody out, and Joe Adcock. Adcock pops one up near the foul line over at first base. Eddie Wakus is under that. Makes the catch in fair territory for out number 1. So there's 1 out. Runners on first and second. And second baseman Felix Mantilla, who is 1 for 2. This time he hits a ground ball to third baseman Willie Jones. And he fires over to, hold on a second here. If one or more runners are forced, runner on first is out. Batter is safe. Other runners advance 1 base. Okay. So, Jones's only play is to throw it to Goliot at second base for a 5-4 putout. Well, that's going to retire Covington at second. It's going to allow Aaron to move to third. And that's a mistake there. That's a fielder's choice. So Mantilla's on first. Aaron's on third. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. And Del Crandall. All right. Braves at least chip away at this Phillies lead. Well, he hits a ground ball to second baseman Mike Goliot, and it's an X-check. Goliot's a 3. And we roll an 18. And that tells us to select another split card or roll again. This time we roll a 15. And Goliot makes a nice play. Tosses the ball over to Eddie Wakus for the 3rd out. Braves threaten but do not score, and after 6 innings of play, it's the Phillies 6 and the Braves 2. New pitcher for Milwaukee is Juan Pizarro. Not Bizarro, but Pizarro. And he was 5-6 with a 4.64 ERA, 99 innings pitched in 1957. He's a number 3 hitting pitcher, so we will put we replace his card with the number 3 pitcher hitting card. Miller does get his 8th fatigue point, so the new pitcher is Pizarro. He's coming in here. First batter he's going to face is Richie Ashburn in the top of the 7th. All right. So New pitcher. Pizarro is going to face Ashburn, Sisler, and Ennis here in the top of the 7th. Phillies lead 6-2. And Ashburn pops this one up to the infield. Mantilla's underneath that. Makes the catch for the first out. Nobody on, 1 out for Dick Sisler. Sisler is 1 for 3 with a run scored. It's a ground ball to first baseman Joe Adcock, who goes to the bag unassisted for the second out. Oh, 2 outs. Nobody on. Del Ennis. It's a ground ball to third baseman Eddie Matthews. Fires over to Joe Adcock for the 3rd out. And the Phillies go 1-2-3 here in the top of the 7th. Oh, let's see. Well, that was a quick appearance for Pizarro. I actually probably should have done a double switch, but I didn't, and I can't do it now. So, okay, so we're going to have to pinch hit for Pizarro here. And give another line. And that is going to be Del Rice. No, Frank Torrey. Frank Torrey is going to pinch hit for Pizarro. And Ernie Johnson is going to start warming up in the Milwaukee bullpen. Okay, so we got Frank Torrey pinch hitting here in the bottom of the 7th. Bob Miller's back out. Pizarro did get 1 fatigue point. Doesn't matter. He left the game. All right. Bob Miller is at 8. Let me make sure that's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is correct. All right. So Johnson is also a number 3 hitting pitcher. Frank Torrey is going to pinch hit for Pizarro here in the bottom of the 7th. But he hits a fly ball to right fielder Del Ennis. He makes the catch for the first out. So that didn't really work out. All right. Back to the top of the order and Bill Bruton. Nobody on, 1 out. Bruton is going to get his 4th hit. And it is going to be a single. 4th hit for Bruton. 3 singles and 4 singles. 4 singles and a run scored for Bruton. And we're going to try the hit and run again. The hit and run's on with Johnny Logan here. Man on first, 1 out. And Logan hits a ball past second baseman Mike Goliot. Scored a single, and that's going to move Bruton to 3rd. So the Braves have runners on the corners and nobody out. Phillies are bringing the infield in. Eddie Matthews is up. And it's a catcher's card X. Well, Semenuk's a 1. We roll an 11. And Matthews hits one in foul territory near the on-deck circle. Semenuk is under that, makes the catch in foul territory for the second out of the inning. Big second out there. Phillies send the infield back. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. Hank Aaron. And he hits a ground ball to third baseman Willie Jones. He goes the short way to Goliath at second base for a 5-4 put out and the third out of the inning. And the Braves rally ends without a run scoring. And after 7 innings of play, it's the Phillies 6 and the Braves 2. Miller gets another fatigue point. He is at 9. New pitcher for the Braves is Ernie Johnson. Okay, and he's going to face Willie Jones here in the top of the 8th. Well, it's Ernie Johnson. Top of the 8th. All right. So it's going to be Willie Jones, Granny Hamner, Andy Semenick for the Phillies here in the top of the 8th. They lead 6-2. And that is a leadoff single for Willie Jones. He's 3 for 4. So man on first, nobody out. Granny Hamner. He pops this one up to in the infield, and shortstop Johnny Logan's under that, makes the catch for the first out. Willie Jones holds at first. And there's a man on first with 1 out for Andy Semenick. And he strikes out. That's the first strikeout for Ernie Johnson. Second out of the inning. 2 outs, man on first for Mike Goliath. And that's another strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning for Ernie Johnson. Phillies get a base runner but do not score. And after 7.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 6 and the Braves 2. Bob Miller's back out. Johnson gets a fatigue point. Bob Miller's back out for the Phillies. He's at 9 fatigue points. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's at 8 fatigue points. Anyway, he's at 8 fatigue points. And he's going to face Wes Covington, Joe Adcock, and Felix Mantilla here in the bottom of the 8th. And that's a leadoff single for Covington. That's his second hit. It's going to bring up Joe Adcock, who is 1 for 2 with a walk. This time he hits a ground ball to first baseman Eddie Wakus, who, let's see here. It's a ground ball C. Batter's out at first. That's going to allow, his only play is to go to first base unassisted. That's going to allow Covington to move up to second. So we have a man on second with 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th, and Felix Mantilla. 3-11. And he hits a double. That's going to score a run. So it's now 6-3. Red who? No, I'm kidding. Shane Deese is cheering him on the base. So that's a RBI double for Felix Mantilla. Now Miller's at 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, he's at 10. I was right before. All right, so he's at 10. The Phillies are going to get some action in their bullpen. It's going to be Jim Constanti. He's going to start warming up. And let's see who's up next for the Braves. So we got a man on second with 1 out. It's Del Crandall. Scores now 6-3, favor of the Phillies. We're in the bottom of the 8th. This is a ground ball to shortstop. Granny Hamner's going to be an X check. He's a 2. And we roll a 15. His only play is over to first. So he tosses over to Eddie Wakis for the 2nd out. But that allows Mantilla to move over to third. So he's on third with 2 outs. And the pitcher spot. So we are going to have a pinch hitter here. It's going to be Andy Pafko. And not Bob Throwbridge. We're gonna get Gene Conley and Bob Throwbridge warming up. Or Trowbridge, excuse me. Those 2 guys are gonna warm up for the Braves. And Andy Pafko is going to pinch hit for Ernie Johnson. Pinch hit, bottom 8th. So the score is 6-3. The Braves do have a man on third in Felix Mantilla with 2 outs. Let's see what Pafko can do. Phillies do have Jim Constanti warming up. It's a 5-7. It's a ground ball to shortstop Granny Hamner, and it's another X check. Hamner is a 2. We roll a 3. And he makes the out. Nice play by Hamner for the 3rd out. Score that 6-3. Over to Eddie Wakis. Braves do get a run. And Miller goes to 11 fatigue points. New pitcher for the Braves is going to be Gene Conley. He is a number 2 hitting pitcher. So we'll replace his card with the number 2 pitcher hitting card. And Gene Conley was in 1957 was 9-9 with a 3.16 ERA and 148 innings pitched. Miller's still in the game. He did get his, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's at 11. I have him at 11, okay. So Ernie Johnson's day is done. And since Miller's at 11, we're going to pull him. He's a leadoff batter here in the 9th. We're going to pull him for a pinch hitter. And it's going to be Dick Whitman. It's going to pinch hit for Bob Miller. So Miller's day is done. And it's Dick Whitman pinch hitting the top of the 9th. And Constanti is warming up for the Phils. So Whitman's the pinch hitter. He's facing Gene Conley. I've got to put Conley down here. And here. Top of the 9th. And he's facing the pinch hitter, Whitman. All right. Sorry about that little delay. Okay, top of the 9th, nobody on, nobody out. First batter, Dick Whitman, pinch hitting for Bob Miller. New pitcher for the Braves, Gene Conley. That's a fly ball to center fielder, Billy Bruton. He's under that, makes the catch, and there's 1 away. All right, so Whitman's day is done. Okay, we're back to the top of the order. Eddie Wakis. 3-3. That's a ground ball to second baseman Felix Mantilla. Tosses over to Joe Adcock for the second out. And there are 2 away in the top of the ninth. 2 outs, nobody on for Richie Ashburn. Whitey. And he hits a ground ball to third baseman Eddie Matthews. Fires over to Joe Adcock for the third out. Phillies go 1-2-3 in the top of the ninth. And after 8.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 6 and the Braves 3. Conley gets a fatigue point. Probably not the most efficient use of the bullpen by me for the Braves. Bob Miller's day is done, as mentioned. Jim Constantini, I don't know why I have trouble with that name, but I do sometimes. Constantini is the new pitcher for the Phillies here in the bottom of the ninth. He's going to face the top of the order. Constanti. All right. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Constanti facing Bill Bruton, the top of the order. Last chance for the Braves. Bottom of the ninth. That's a ground ball to second baseman Mike Goliot over to Eddie Wakis for the first out. And there's 1 away. One out, nobody on for Johnny Logan. That's a ground ball to shortstop Randy Hamner. He is a 2. It's the next check. Rolls an 8. And Hamner once again makes a great play. Fires over to Eddie Wakis for out number 2. This is it for the Braves. Eddie Matthews is the last chance to keep this game going. They trail 6-3. 2 outs, nobody on. He hits a ground ball to first baseman Eddie Wakis, who steps on the bag himself, takes it unassisted for the third out, ending this game. And the visiting Phillies win this one 6-3. See if we can get totals for you. Phillies had 6 runs on eight hits. They did not commit an error. Braves had 3 runs on six hits. They committed 1 error. Winning pitcher is Bob Miller. I didn't write Constanti down here. Winning pitcher is Bob Miller. Loser is Bob Buell. Constanti does not get a save. Wasn't a safe situation. So that's going to do it. The Phillies send the 1957 Milwaukee Braves a-tumbling down to the bottom of the hill. Phillies are once again kings of the hill in this Oldtimer Kings tournament. They are now at 5 wins, so they are halfway to making it to the finals. First team to 10 wins is the team that makes it to the finals with the home field advantage, and the second team to 10 will be their challenger for a 7-game series. But we are a long way from that. But the Phillies are halfway there. So that's going to do it for this episode. I know it went around an hour. It was a little bit slow at times, and there were some runs scored and some strange plays. But that's going to do it for this episode. Until next time, take care. Oh, by the way, happy holidays. See you later. Take care.